Right now, there's a lot of talk about the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. But the problem is, in all this talk, there's a lot of misinformation or false information that is being thrown in there. It's badly being articulated by the liberal media. So I want to give us a little synopsis of what RFRA, for short, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, is really all about. Now, in 1993, President Bill Clinton, think about this, many liberals, Chuck Schumer, Ted Kennedy, passed it in Congress, and then Bill Clinton signed it into law in 1993. What was the reason? Well, they were ensuring that the aim of this federal law was to ensure that no outside force, organization, person, or law was infringing or interfering with one's right to practice their religious practices, their religious beliefs. So that's important. Now, the purpose of this law was to deal more strategically within the issues in our culture today. For example, three things that the RFRA law does. It makes sure that it identifies, I should say, that someone who was substantially burdened by an interference of their religious practice is going to be heard in courts. If they believe that they were substantially burdened, they can appeal this to court, whether it be local, state, or federal. Now, number two, now the courts decide if there is an actual compelling interest to this case that someone has been substantially burdened in their religious freedom. If that's the case, then thirdly, they look at a lesser means of addressing this to make sure that they're not overruling on something else that was applied, but that person's religious practices were protected. That goes back to the First Amendment. The First Amendment, it says that we have a right to worship and to express our religious beliefs how we wish. That's our first freedom, freedom of speech, etc. The First Amendment was ratified into law and part of the Bill of Rights of December 15th of 1791. So you go all the way back then to 1993, but on a federal level, almost 30 states now have put similar laws in place to protect those rights. Now, last thing I'd say is this: religious freedom has four key elements that the First Amendment and these RFRA laws protect. Number one is that you have a right to believe what you want to believe. Number two, you have the right to exercise that belief how you wish. Number three, you can promote, engage, and participate in the activities in that particular belief. And number four, wherever you go, there has to be accommodation in America within that belief. So the RFRA laws, which has its footing because of the First Amendment, are put in place to protect religious freedom. The belief, the exercise, the activity, and the accommodation has nothing to do with sexual orientation, has all to do with one's religious beliefs.